Ikeja Airport, and the drummers and the banners were out to welcome an important visitor, Prime Minister Dr. Kwame Nkrumah from Ghana. The plane was delayed an hour by engine trouble in Accra, but when Dr. Nkrumah eventually arrived, he received a warm welcome from the Prime Minister of the Federation, Alhaji Abubakar Tafawa Balewa. The Guard of Honor, 48 strong, was found by the 1st Battalion, the Queen's Own Nigeria Regiment, who brought their mascot along. Dr. Nkrumah carried out the inspection, his first official duty of a visit which was to last 12 days. After his stay in Lagos, tours were to be made of the 3 regions and the Cameroons. It was a fine opportunity for the Prime Minister to see how life is lived in a country soon to follow in the independent steps of his own. After the military ceremonies were complete, Dr. Nkrumah walked across to meet ministers and people important in the life of the federal capital. In the Prime Minister's party were Mr. Krobo Edusi, now Minister of Communications and Transport, Mr. Kojo Botsio, Minister of External Affairs, and Mr. Kofi Bako, Minister of Information and Broadcasting. From the airport, Dr. Nkrumah left for the federal ministerial residence, where he stayed during his time in Lagos. Later, there was a reception to welcome the distinguished guest to Nigeria. Alhaji Abubakar Tafawa Balewa posed with his visitor, for this was a historic occasion, the first time that a Prime Minister of an independent Ghana had visited the Federation. Then both Prime Ministers awaited the arrival of His Excellency the Governor-General and Lady Robertson. Again, there were more pictures to pose for. There can be no doubt that many topics relating to West Africa's future would be discussed during the next 12 days, and many personal friendships made, which would help towards the establishing of a close understanding between Nigeria and Ghana. The police band provided the music, and the party was attended by some 500 guests. During his stay in Lagos, Dr. Nkrumah went to the new naval headquarters at Apapa, known as Her Majesty's Nigerian ship Kora. He came by launch from Government House. The naval force is the youngest of Nigeria's fighting services. It became part of the armed forces in May 1958, but over a year earlier, training of the first entry of junior ratings had begun. The basic course lasts for 6 months and includes every aspect of life afloat. The name of the station is, of course, a historic one, for in 1832, the Kora was one of the first ships ever to go up the River Niger. There can be no doubt that Dr. Nkrumah found this visit extremely interesting. The more so because for the first time, and to quote Sir James Robertson, Nigeria has her own navy in which Nigerians may serve on the high seas for the protection of their country. After taking farewell of Mr. A.G. Gardner-Brown, the acting Deputy Governor-General, Dr. Nkrumah left for his next visit to the Yaba Trade Center. At the center, he was welcomed by the Federal Minister of Education, the Honorable Aja Nwachukwu, the Principal of the Center, Mr. W.G. Konke, and the Permanent Secretary to the Ministry of Education, Mr. V.H.K. Littlewood. The Yaba Center is an important part of the system of training young men for trade and industry. With the great expansion programs which are underway, Nigeria needs skilled craftsmen well versed in modern techniques, and at Yaba, the work of providing them is being carried out. Dr. Nkrumah saw many aspects of the center, including the fitting, turning, and cabinet making shops. The Motor Engineering Department also came in for close inspection, and wherever he went, the 49-year-old Prime Minister of Ghana received a warm welcome from the students. Then to the Mainland Hotel for a civic luncheon given by the Lagos Town Council. Oba Adele II spoke first.
A great pleasure to propose a toast of our distinguished guest of honor this afternoon in the passing of Dr. the Honorable Kwame Nkrumah, MP, on behalf of my chiefs, councillors, and all my people. Unless we really learn to respect these traits in one another, we can never achieve true harmony. We are happy to say that here in Nigeria, members of the Ghana armies are free and happy to pursue life in their own way. We are proud to say that the majority of them are worthy citizens of this country and true ambassadors of their country. Ladies and gentlemen, I have to request all of you to stand up with me and drink the health of Dr. the Honorable Nkrumah and his ministers.
Next, there was the presentation of a Yoruba gown and cap, a splendid souvenir for Dr. Nkrumah, a reminder of his happy and useful visit to the Federation. He then replied,
Your Highness, Deputy Governor, Councillors, ladies and gentlemen, perhaps what you have just done to me is but a demonstration of the goodwill that exists between Ghana and Nigeria. Perhaps I could only show myself to you as I am now, and that will be the end of my speech. But if I do so, I don't think I'll be doing justice to myself or Your Highness and the councillors. And so I want to take the occasion to say that I am most happy indeed to be your guest in this Asian city. And I want to thank you for the very warm welcome which has been extended to me and my party by you and fellow citizens of Lagos. As you said, Your Highness, Lagos has had a long association with Ghana. In 1874, for purpose of their own administration, the colonial, or rather the British colonial government, joined your town administratively with what was then the Gold Coast colony. Many things have changed since that time. We in Ghana have been sovereign and independent for almost 2 years now, and Nigeria stands on the threshold of independence. I believe that the basis of true friendship and good neighborliness is genuine frankness, and it is for this reason that I wish to correct the wrong impressions in Nigeria and elsewhere regarding the measures we have had to take to preserve law and order in Ghana. In taking steps to rid Ghana of violence, terrorism, and subversion, the government has had the unpleasant but necessary duty to deport, among others, certain persons from Nigeria.
It was quite all right.
Your Highness, I do not want to use this occasion as a platform to give detailed explanations of my government actions in respect of these deportations. But I should like to stress that every case was thoroughly examined before action was taken to deport the persons. Your Highness, we look, however, upon deportations and preventive detention as purely temporary measures designed to guarantee the stability of the state and preserve our hard-won independence. In Ghana, we are determined that the sovereign will of the people and the ballot box should constitute the only channel by which a political party can come to form a government. I believe that both Nigeria and Ghana have a great future as strongholds of democracy. And mark you, sir, democracy is not a new thing to our African way of life. It is inherent in our traditions and culture.
Then, with the thoughts and scenes of his own country very much in mind, Dr. Nkrumah said,
We have been criticized because some of our Nigerian brothers have been deported since independence. I wish to make it quite clear that those who have been deported because their conduct was found to be inimical to the security of the state. We could not detain them under the Preventive Detention Act. We could only, with painful reluctance, deport them. But when we deport them, where do they go? I understand some of them have been with us for years, and that even their connection here is so remote that when they come, they don't even they can discover a home. Your Highness, it will be of interest to know that there are in Ghana today some 200,000 Nigerians who are engaged in honest business and are making a positive contribution to the economic and social life of the country. Such people are welcome and will always be welcome in Ghana. There is in Africa today a political ferment and a yearning for freedom and unity of African peoples everywhere. The achievement of freedom and unity is the main preoccupation of all leaders and nationalities in Africa today. Towards that end, a free, independent, and sovereign Nigeria, in association with other independent African states, can make a positive contribution. Your Highness, we look forward to the day when the leaders of the various West African territories will be able to come together for the purpose of exploring ways and means of bringing the conception of West African unity to a reality. That day, I'm sure, is not far distant. And now, Chairman and Councillors, I wish again, on behalf of the government and people of Ghana, to thank you for the warm and spontaneous welcome accorded me and my party since our arrival here in Lagos. We look forward to our tour around the country, and we hope to return with happy memories of Nigeria and her people. Again, I thank you.
When he returned to Lagos from his visit to the regions and the southern Cameroons, Dr. Nkrumah held a press conference at Ikeja Airport.
Which we hope to initiate or establish in Ghana. Maybe institutions or...
Oh, so many. See, I give an instance. For example, your administrative school at Zaria has very much impressed me. But I've always believed in, local government as the basis of all, democratic setup. And that's really impressed me, and I think it's a thing which Ghana should copy. You have a government, local government school, you see, but it doesn't go that far. It's only for local government administrated, but you have really a broad base for it, and that really impressed me very much. That's one instance I can give.
Mr. Prime Minister, I'll take you back in South Africa. It was reported sometime about 2 weeks ago that the Minister of External Affairs in South African government said that the intention, let me call it the intention of the government of Ghana to send a representative to the South African government, even though he was not opposing it, but that he felt that the South African government could not consider it view of the fact that before a government could exchange diplomatic representatives with another government, the government of that country should have been consulted. But in that light, did the Ghana government ever plan to send, to exchange diplomatic...
Well, naturally, it's the intention of the government to have diplomatic relations, especially by way of High Commission and ambassadorial type to any of these countries. And the matter was really our intention. But as you know, according to all diplomatic relations, there must be consultation on this matter. If the South African government said no, there's nothing we can do. So it's quite right there in making that statement, that it needs consultation.
Mr. Prime Minister, a few minutes ago you gave us an instance of a Guinea national who was sentenced in court and ordered to be deported, but that your committee or your cabinet decided that he should not be deported. But don't you think that is overriding the decision of the court?
Oh no, the court, you can.
That is recommendations to the...
That's according to law. You see, the court orders, but once the court has ordered, I think that's the end of it. The executive can do anything. Doing the wrong thing here, the government should naturally have a discussion with the leaders of the Western region, and I had a talk with the Premier. And I think the area is quite cleared now for a real lasting and better friendship. That's what I can say.
This visit by the Prime Minister of a neighboring state had been a great success. Dr. Nkrumah left with a clear appreciation of the Nigerian way of life. The friendships he had made and the discussions which took place will obviously be of great value to both countries. The Federal Prime Minister walked with him to the Ghana Airways plane, which was to fly him home to Accra. Before he boarded the aircraft, there were more farewells to be taken for many new friends there were to wish him bon voyage. The visit had been successful from all points of view. The 12-day tour was over, but the benefits which will spring from it in the years to come cannot yet be estimated.